Chapter 2. The hallways of Finn's middle school could sometimes feel as long as runways. Late for class, he found this to be one of those times. Steel lockers occupied most of the space between the doors to the classrooms. The lockers were covered with stickers and pictures of movie stars or pro athletes, which instantly distinguished a girl's locker from a boy's. Fluorescent tube lighting cast a sickly glow over everything, and made human skin look vaguely greenish. He said there was a fable, a story of some kind, Finn said to the boy standing next to him, that my friends and I are supposed to save the park, or something. He realized how ridiculous this sounded. Whatever that means. By friends, you mean like me? Dillard Cole asked. Dillard ate enough for 2 kids and had the body to show for it. He didn't mean you, Dillard, Finn said gently, trying not to hurt the guy's feelings. Not exactly. He meant the other, the hosts, at Disney World, the DHIs. No way. Finn said, hurrying off to his 4th period classroom. It was only a dream, Dillard shouted after him. Finn wasn't so sure about that. We're honored you could join us, Mr. Whitman, said Mr. Richardson, as Finn rushed into his world history class. Mr. Richardson was probably the most boring teacher in the entire school. He lived in the U.S. for 20-some years, but still spoke with a thick British accent. He sounded like a pompous snob. Finn checked the wall clock. He was 8 minutes late, just under the 10-minute deadline, when Richardson would have to give him a tardy. 3 tardies meant after-school study hall. Finn already had collected 2 others, both from science class. You'll sit up front, please, Mr. Richardson said, indicating an empty chair. Torture on top of humiliation. For the record, your notoriety pulls no weight in my class. I beg you to remember that when grades are issued, I find the idea of child actors tedious at best. Sorry I'm late, Finn said, sliding down into the chair, resentful that he'd been made to apologize. He'd taken the job at Disney World somewhat against his will, mostly at his mother's urging. At the time, she had no idea she was making him into a middle school rock star. He remembered it well. There will be money in it, his mother had said. Your father and I can put a little something away for your college. I don't know, Mom, Finn had complained. This is Walt Disney World, don't forget. You would be a host like a guide in Walt Disney World. It's not exactly me. It'll look like you. Sound like you. It'll seem like you to everyone but you. You'd be there for years, Finn Whitman. Maybe forever. You can't get any cooler than Disney World. His mother didn't know everything, but when she was right, she was right. Finn loved the Disney parks. So did his friends. Even though they lived in Orlando, they all went to the parks whenever they could afford it. But the Magic Kingdom, Mom, it's for little kids. At Disney MGM, sure. Animal Kingdom would be awesome, but the Magic Kingdom? You'll love the Magic Kingdom, and you know it. Besides, the rest of your family would get complimentary passes every year, for life. As in forever. We could basically go whenever we want. Without me. I thought you just said you're too old for the Magic Kingdom. Finn's mom could twist almost anything he said. He picked his arguments carefully with her. She had explained the terms of the contract to him, but Finn hadn't really paid attention. Tell me about the disguise stuff again, he said. You would only be allowed to visit the Magic Kingdom with prior approval. One permission is granted. You'd still have to go in disguise, but a hat and sunglasses would be enough. You'd only have to wear them when you're in the Magic Kingdom. They can't have 2 of you running around, the real you and the hologram host you. It makes sense if you think about it. It did make sense, but he wasn't about to admit that. She said, "It sounds so easy. All you do is let them film you walking and gesturing. You read the script a couple times into a microphone, they process the film, or whatever, and presto, you're a hologram host at the Magic Kingdom, with a college nest egg and lifetime complimentary passes. Then you love special effects. What they're offering is for you to be the special effect. How much cooler can that be?" She was right again, but he resisted an all-out agreement. His mother had once called a new toaster high-tech. What did she know? "All I have to do is audition?" he asked, testing her. "That's right. They might not even take you." "Mom," Finn said, "this is me we're talking about. Of course they'll take me." "Excuse me, Mr. Hotshot, but I do not want to hear you talking that way, and you know it. If this is going to go to your head, we are not doing this." Actually, Finn's mom loved to hear him talk that way, though she pretended otherwise. She had schooled him in self-confidence. He auditioned for several things and never won a part yet, but not because he lacked confidence. "Okay, I'll do it," he said. She beamed. He loved to see her like that, bright-eyed and childlike. A month after Finn had passed the final audition and won a place at a Disney Host Interactive, or DHI, he arrived at an enormous soundstage at Disney MGM Studios, the size of a jet aircraft hangar. The soundstage was rigged with hundreds of film lights, a green screen that filled one entire wall, trampolines, cameras, boom microphones, and dozens of scruffily dressed crew members. He'd never seen anything like it, except in movies, though he did his best to pretend otherwise. A college-age girl dressed in black and gray wore a headset with a microphone mouthpiece, a fuzzy black ball by her lips. She called herself a PA. It took Finn 4 days to realize that stood for production assistant. Her boss was a guy named Brad from Disney Imagineering. Brad made Finn dress in green tights and a green stretchy top and walk around on a green stage. The costume had small metal sensors like thin coins stuck to the tights on every joint of his body. Dozens of things. Cameras hooked up to a computer recorded the movement of the small metal discs. In the camera's eyes, the green costume moving against the green background basically made Finn's body disappear. The computer saw him instead as a floating cloud of shiny points. The engineers would later use the recordings of Finn's movements to animate the holograms of Finn and the other kids. Brad explained that this process was called motion capture. There were 5 kids in all. One very pretty girl, Charlene, had sandy blonde hair and blue eyes with pale skin. The other girl, Willa, struck him as a little geeky, but extremely smart. She was sweet, but not knockout gorgeous like Charlene. Not many girls looked like Charlene. Willa struck him as moody. With her hooded brown eyes and dark braided hair, she might have been Asian or Native American. Maybeck, an African-American kid, was taller than Finn by a full head and had the big guy attitude to go along with it. For some reason, he made a point of telling Finn that he was a Baptist. Finn, who wasn't terribly religious, wasn't sure what to do with that information, nor even what it meant. On a break, Finn hung out with Maybeck and the last of the 5, a boy who introduced himself as Philby. Like Maybeck, he obviously preferred to be called by his last name. Philby looked older than all of them, but was in fact the same age. He had a British accent, or something close to it. Australia or New Zealand, Finn guessed. "Quite the motility group," Philby said. "We're the Lando assortment pack," Maybeck quipped. "One of every flavor," Finn said. "We're all from different schools, right?" "What's with that? It's like they wanted to make sure none of us knew each other. Why would they do that?" "Control," Maybeck answered. "These kinds of guys, with them, it's all about control." That guy, Brad, I don't trust him. He's keeping stuff from us. Count on it. Finn liked Brad, but he knew what Maybeck was talking about. It did feel like they weren't being told everything. We'd better be able to trust him, Finn suggested. He's the one turning us into holograms. I don't know about you, Maybeck answered, but I never trust anyone but myself. He added a little late. No offense. Finn wanted out of his tights. Philippi said, Did you know that DHI, Disney Host Interactive, also stands for Daylight Hologram Imagining? Seriously, Finn asked. Totally. See, Maybeck said, that's what I'm talking about. Right there. First, I've heard of it. Philippi continued, This has never been done before, DHIs. Not like this. We're going to be turned into absolutely perfect three-dimensional images, duplicates of ourselves. We'll look real, but we'll be made of nothing but light. It's pretty cool technology, actually. But if it's never been done before, Finn said, how do we know it's safe? The boys glanced back and forth between themselves. Philippi said, It's like taking pictures, that's all. How can it not be safe? It pays, Maybeck said harshly, but that's all I care about. My aunt could use the extra money. Your aunt? Finn said before he took the time to think about his question might sound rude. Yeah, Maybeck said. I live with my aunt. My parents, they aren't around. Finn felt awful for having asked. Maybeck grew silent. He seemed less tough all of a sudden. Sorry, Finn said, for asking. Not your problem, Maybeck said in a softer voice. My aunt's cool. She tried to get me into a toothpaste ad, but I lost out. Then this thing came up. Brad told me that if I'd gotten that ad, I'd never have been asked to be a host. They want nothing but fresh faces. So you got lucky, Finn said. We all got lucky, Maybeck agreed. A DHI in the Magic Kingdom? We're going to be famous. We're going to be ghosts, Philippi corrected. Electronic ghosts, provided that this technology actually works. Don't say stuff like that, Maybeck pleaded. Of course it works. Of course, Philippi said. My bad. But he sounded less convinced.